while we wait, I have a very quick question to ask you while we wait for a question to come. Exhibitions, new exhibitions coming. Where can we see your work soon?
이제 한국말로 해보겠습니다. 너무 힘들었어요. 제 다음 전시는 이제 다가오는 5월에 있는 2인전이 있는데 서촌에 있는 서간이라는 공간에서 하고요. 근데 주제가 지금 제가 다루고 있는 주제랑 굉장히 밀접해서 하기로 결정을 했어요. 주제가 이제 사람과 사랑 그리고 뭐 삶, 딱 제가 요즘 탐구하는 주제에 대해서 하는 전시여가지고 즐겁게 준비하고 있습니다. 너무 길어요?
Okay, the next exhibition will be in May.
5월 11일.
It's 11th of May, and it's in Seocheon. The gallery's name is Seolgan, and it's a duo exhibition. Please come and visit. And it's very similar to the artwork that you have currently seen. And the title is called, it's not fixed, but it will be about love, life, and people. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have one first question coming from the online living room. Yona, can I put you on the screen with us, and can you please unmute yourself, or shall I read your question? That's as you prefer. I read the question. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. So, Yona would like to know what was your method for making the animation? If it was simply stop motion, and was it frame by frame? Thank you, Yona.
애니메이션을 만든 방법은 한 장 한 장 이미지를 그려서 그것을 이어붙여서 동작을 만들어냈어요.
So the animation was drawn page by page, and then she moved it onto a data, and you made it into into motion. 그쵸? So she made it into a video clip after drawing pages of it.
500 drawings, the one we saw, right?
Oh, it was exactly 500 drawings, yeah, the last one.
Thank you. Any question from the living room? I always say the mic here doesn't bite, so just grab it. We have one. Thanks. There. Good.
Hello. You mentioned that you're very inspired by poetry, and certainly your painting is a way of writing. My question for you is, are you interested at all in collaborating with a poet and doing a new body of work based on that?
당연히 할 생각이 있고 제가 그 드로잉룸 전시 그리고 컴스 웨이브 전시를 할 때 제가 좋아하는 시인 박준이라는 시인님이 그래서 제 서문을 써주셨어요. 왜냐하면 제가 그 시인의 시에서 영감을 많이 받아서 의뢰를 드렸거든요.
She is very interested in working with a poet because she does get a lot of inspiration by poetry. And when she did her artwork, the exhibition at Drawing Room, she did ask a poet. His name was Park Jun, and he wrote her artistic scripts for her for that exhibition as well.
최근에 책 표지를 하나 한 적이 있는데
And recently she had a poet, a novelist that wrote a book, and they wanted to use one of her artworks in as the main cover of the book, and she read it, and she felt very moved by the novel, so she did agree to give the right to the author to use her artwork as the main cover of a book.
Thank you. I'm sorry I missed the exhibition. I'll try to find some more materials online. It was very impressive, just the installation.
Thank you for.
Thank you. Thanks for kneeling down. Thanks. Okay, and we go to Shanghai and our connecting node in Shanghai. Hi, Magali, how are you doing? You can unmute
Good.
yourself. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning. Thank you for such a beautiful presentation. I almost reached for my box of tissues as well because I was so touched and moved by the use of your hands. And my first thought or question was, what was the initial inspiration behind using your hands? But you answered that question beautifully. Now, my big question is, have you ever received flack, criticism for using love as a foundation for your work?
Okay. So she's very grateful, but she has never received any negative criticism about using love in her themes and using black, like the color of black, and portraying love as that.
Otherwise, one thing I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned that the animation we just watched an animation that it's 3 minutes long, and it's made out of 500 drawings. So how long, practically speaking, how long did it take you to build that up, to create that work?
1 year. Yeah. About 1 year I made.
Andrea,
Hi.
hi, good evening. Very nice to
Yes.
see you there. Andrea is
Yeah.
our connecting node in Oregon, USA. Good
Yeah.
evening. Yes, please ask your question.
So I just loved the work that you do. I'm very drawn to it. I had a question about the misnumbered answers. I love what you said, but I couldn't quite catch it. It was something about just a bunch of different memories that you collected and then painted, and then it was referenced to a piece of poetry, and I didn't catch that piece. So I'm wondering if you could go back and talk to us more about the misnumbered answers and also the memory collage, and how did you pick out the components of each of those?
Would you like to hear the verse of the poetry that she had read out?
Yeah. The misnumbered answers. The title was inspired by a line from a poet Lee Byung-yul's poem Ripple. The last line of the poem reads, "The wrongly written answers will be thrown away in front of a poet's house."
And how did you choose each of those images? Also that I saw a lot of things in the memory collage. They looked like you have a lot of similar motifs, but how did you pick the ones for misnumbered answers?
이 뜻이 답안지를 적고 있는데 계속 그게 밀려났다는 뜻인데.
Her interpretation of the poetry is she's trying to find the answers, yet she can't get them. So
그래서 제가 이제 현재를 살아갈 때 갑자기 제 일상에서 불현듯 떠오르는 이미지나 갑자기 저한테 충격을 주는 그런 구절이나 그런 것들이 끼어들거든요.
So there are moments in her life where she's living her daily life and something very unexpected happens and it just barges into her ordinary life.
그래서 그렇게 떠오른 이미지들, 나한테
So
껴든 이미지.
when that happens to her, she thinks about the images that go through her mind and she chose those images to go with the lines of the poetry.
Thank you. Come, Thomas, come. Kneel down. We have a question from the lip. See, that's the camera. Yes. So, oh gosh. This. Yeah.
Hello. Okay. I love what you said that you mentioned that you were a shy girl and then you could pick up people's adults' emotions with their hands. Did I catch that right?
수줍어했다기보다는 키가 작아서 as a short child.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, a short child.
Oh, okay.
예,
I thought you said shy,
예,
but still, yeah.
예, 예.
But then I was wondering what kind of emotions could you pick up in their hands, and like how did you perceive the emotions in their hands? And also how do you portray this in your paintings? How can we perceive them in your paintings?
손에서 느끼는 감정들은 이제 우리가 말할 때 떨지 않는 척 얼굴은 하지만 손은 떨다거나.
So the example that she gave was sometimes our voice is not tremoring when we're talking, but the handshake when you're nervous. So signs like that she picked up as a child when she was watching the adults talk. And
그래서 이제 그렇게 제가 캐치한 손의 동작들을 찍거나 아니면 사진에서 크롭을 해서 이제 그것들을 그리기 시작을 했어요.
so she took images of that and she took image photos, or she actually did take photographs of those moments and she cropped those photos and she drew that onto the canvas.
제가 느끼기에 그 동작에서 내가 뭐 두려움을 느꼈다거나 긴장감을 느꼈다는 좀 제 주관적인 시선이기는 한데 그런 부분들을 다 크롭을 해서 그렸던 것 같아요.
It's a very objective opinion because like that person might not have been nervous, but like she felt that they were nervous or she felt a particular emotion and she captured that moment and she like transferred that onto the canvas in her artworks.
Can we perceive the emotions in your paintings? Do you leave any traces of these emotions in your paintings through the hands?
사실은 뭐 받아들이는 분들이 어떻게 받아들이는지는 이제 다 그 사람들이 자유라고 생각을 하기는 해요. 왜냐하면 저는 제 작업을 하는 게 사실은 아까도 발표에도 있었지만 어떻게 보면 제가 살아가는 방법 중에 하나이기 때문에 내가 나의 그런 불안이나 감정을 이렇게 다 표출을 함으로써 저는 제가 살아갈 수 있다고 생각을 하거든요. 네.
So she's actually said that she portrays that emotion through her drawings, but to be honest, she said the way the receiver takes it, it really depends on the receiver itself. She might be portraying one emotion, but the receiver might be taking it as a different emotion. But I think it's just a way of everybody lives a life very differently, and this is her way of putting forward her emotions onto the canvas. And when it's up to the receiver or the person that's behind the canvas and actually seeing the illustrations or paintings, it's really up to them on how they perceive it and the emotions they take away with it.
One more question. Because I think your symbols are so universal and that's why it's so touching to so many people. And maybe it's because I was standing very far, so it was a little blurred to me, to my vision. But I was wondering if you take into consideration gender when drawing the hands, because from afar, it seemed that it could be either gender or anything, you know, but I was as well. Yeah, that's a good point as well. So I was wondering if you take that into consideration while drawing, painting.
저는 손을 작업할 때 어떠한 성별이나 인종이나 그런 것을 담아내려고 하지 않아요. 그래서 뭐 나이나 이런 것들도 다 표현되지 않기를 바라는 게 그냥 이 손이라는 이 동작 자체에서 느껴지는 감정을 이렇게 알리고 싶지 그게 어떤 한 사람의 이야기로만 이렇게 집중되는 것은 원하지 않아서. 네.
She doesn't want to cage her her work into one particular person or a age group, race, or gender. So she does pretty much free that up. So it is very open, so, as you said.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are still in the living room. Yeah, if you can bend a bit, they can see you. Perfect. Thank you. Rita.
Okay, thank you for your work. I would go back to the animation and asking you if you picked a music first or a composer, or you first draw your animation and then found a composer to compose the music on purpose. And secondly, if you're going to work in the same way for the next animation. Thanks.
일단 이 음악을 만들어준 분이 오재형이라는 감독님인데요.
The person that composed the music was a person called Oh Jae-young.
네. 그분은 뭐라고 설명해야지? 피아니스트이자 화가이자 영화 감독이에요.
And he is pianist slash artist slash music.
영화 감독.
He's a film director.
개인적인 친분이 있는데
And she personally knows him.
그래서 처음에 제가 이런 이야기를 할 거다라고 먼저 알려드렸어요.
So she told him up beforehand that like this is the type of work that she's going to be working on.
그리고 나서 저도 작업을 하고 그 오재영 감독님도 일단 이렇게 좀 시놉시스처럼 좀 이제 잡아보고.
And she started her drawing, and then the composer also was drawing up synopsis, like segments of the music.
하고 제가 어느 정도 완성이 되었을 때 이제 그분도 음악 하나를 주셨긴 했는데.
And when she was semi-completed, like she shared her work with the music director and.
근데 제 완성된 영상을 보시더니 아주 새로운 거를 다시 하나 만들어 주셨어요.
And when he saw her finished work, he thought that it was different, so he made a new music piece for it.
그러니까 저랑 알고 지낸 시간이 오래돼서 제가 어떤 생각을 하는지를 너무 잘 알아요.
He's just known her for so long, and he's a very close friend of her. So I think that's why he knew her, and he knows her so well that he decided to change the work after seeing the final completion.
그래서 이게 그 작가님하고 두 번째 하는 이 콜라보 작업인데.
He's going to be working with the same music composer for the next one.
둘 다 실력이 늘고 있어요.
And they're improving. And they're improving. They're getting better.
그래서 전속 계약을 맺었어요.
So they've signed a contract, so like they're bound now.
앞으로도 계속 같이 할 예정이에요.
For good, continuously.
네.
Might be her opinion. 작가님 생각이 아니에요.
아니에요. 합의를 봤어요. 합의를 봤습니다.
Thank you. Any other question from the living room, the virtual one or the... Hannah, can you please pass the microphone to her? Thank you. You can stay there. Yes, they can see you.
Hi, my name is Hannah. Having me here, I really like your work, and then I like the thing you said. You always happiness comes with the sadness, and then when you love someone, and then when you're so happy with them, and in the certain point you have to let someone go. So when you talk about your dad in your childhood, it really reminds of my grandma. Yeah, when I was a little with her. Yeah. So I just wanna ask you, how you, I mean now, your dad is still in parts of your work, and I also see your current works of your mom and dog. So is there any other family members or any other person work there other than family? Or I just want to know how's your work going, in terms of your family.
처음 작업의 시작은 이제 아버지인 건 맞아요. 네.
The first inspirational call was the father, yes, but
그런데 이제 어떤 한 사람에 대한 애도의 방식이 처음하고는 이제 점점 바뀐다고 생각을 했어요.
But with time, the grieving process of losing somebody so dear changes.
그래서 이제 관심사, 영감을 주는 사람이 남아있는 내 옆에 있는 가장 연약한 존재인 엄마가 되었고.
So the next source of inspiration she gets is her mother now.
되었는데 또 다른 영감이라고 하자면은 그냥 또 어떤 한 사람을 지칭하는 게 아니고 그냥 이 모든 삶의 과정들이라고 생각이 좀 들기 시작했어요.
But now it's a little metaphorical, but she says that her next source of inspiration would be life itself and how life goes on.
네, 그러니까 이 뭐 애도의 감정이 어떤 식으로 변했는지 그리고 이게 또 어떻게
It might be the
치유가 되는지.
changes that she's faced with the grieving of losing her father.
그래서 어떤 특정한 어떤 인물에서 이제 영감을 받는다기보다는
But now it's no longer one specific person, but
이렇게 삶의 흐름 자체에서 영감을 좀 많이 받는
Just-
것 같아요.
flowing with life and the inspiration she gets from it.
근데 우리가 마주하기 좀 힘들어하는 그런 감정들을 좀 영감을 많이 받는 것 같아요.
But I think she gets more inspiration with those emotions that are very, very difficult to confront with. So it's not the happy, the light ones, but the more solemn and the more difficult emotions that we have in facing.
Okay, Andrea, hi.
Yeah. Okay. So I love just the confidence with which you do all your work. And I'm wondering, is there a time that when did you know that you were an artist? Like at what point in your life? Was that always something that you knew about yourself? Or, I mean, I know that you had your dad to support you and encourage you, but it just feels like you started young, like with all of your drawing and your work. And was there a time that you knew you were an artist? And was there a time that you had doubt?
내가 막 작가구나라고 느끼는 막 이렇게 난 작가야 막 이렇게 생각한 적은 사실은 막 이렇게 그렇게 막 단정지어서 생각한 적은 없던 것 같아요.
Even till this day, she doesn't feel, oh, I'm an artist or I'm a painter. Even to this day, she doesn't have that emotion, or she's never felt that.
갖고 자연스럽게 사실 작업을 시작하게 됐었기 때문에
And she started building her artwork it was like as if it was fate. Like she was drawn to it and she started it.
그래서 그냥 자연스럽게 이렇게 14년 동안 하고 있는 것
And she's been doing it for 14 years.
같아요. 하려는 얘기는 그래도 어느 정도 확신이 있어서 작업에서 자신감을 좀 봐주신 것 같아요.
But she's very confident in what she wants to say through her artwork, and it's what the audience is, I think, appreciating from it. Because she's confident in the theme that she's trying to portray, not the fact that she's an artist and she wants the audience to like see her as an artist.
Thank you. Yeah. You're not there, but okay, we can hear you. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Thank you very much for this lovely presentation. I have just a quick question. You mentioned your upcoming exhibition, which is in Soccer, right? Have you ever, and sorry for my ignorance, have you ever exhibited abroad, or there are plans to do it abroad?
앞으로의 계획은 아직은 없지만은 언제였더라? 2018년인가 연도가 기억이 잘 안 나긴 하는데 독일에서 아까 보여드렸던 프로 페인팅 목탄 드로잉 작업으로 전시를 한 적이 있어요.
She can't remember the exact date, unfortunately, but I think she said it was in 2018. She did have an exhibition in Germany with the cropped paintings, and she doesn't have one planned for overseas. Oh, she would love to, if given the opportunity.
Thank you. Perfect.
Thanks a lot. Right. You did have a question. Sorry.
My question is, you know how you said that there was your first painting of your brother, and you said it's so sentimental to you that you would carry it with you for 12 years. Would you ever sell it?
Oh.
Very easy and direct answer. No. Thank you. Okay, I think we are now moving towards the end of the talk. If there is no other question. Okay, we go to Bangkok. Hi.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me well? Yeah?
Yes. We can hear you well. Thank you.
All right. That's an experiment a little bit here. So Thank you, Jimin, for the presentation. It was lovely to meet you. And I didn't hear the first words you were saying, so I'm not sure if you talked about it. But from what I read online, the beginning of your work was grief, right? And it all came out and developed around the around the experience of grief. And as I saw your paintings, which showed your childhood that passed, which showed the family moments that passed, and then showed a lot of paintings around the funeral itself, I started to wondering, this is like your way of dealing with the process of grief, and but it doesn't lead through it. And you kind of answered this question already, because you just said that your next part of your work is going to be around life. But I'm just wondering whether or not you are afraid that you're gonna be kind of stuck at some point within, like, just processing the grief but never coming out of it.
이제 저는 좀 어느 정도 벗어났다고 생각을 하고 있고, 네.
I think she said she thinks that she's towards the end of the journey of the grieving process. So she is letting go of that part.
애도라는 것과 슬픔은 다른 것 같아요.
And she said for her, grieving is a little different to being sad.
그래서 이제 제가 탐구하려고 하는 것은 이제 애도가 아니고 그냥 이 슬픔이라는 감정이
And now
크고,
she's moved on, and now she's more focusing on the sadness. I think she's done with the grieving for her, and she's more now developed. She's moving forward onto concentrating more on the sadness component
네.
of that emotion
음.
spectrum.
아까도 말했듯이 그 슬픔이 또 사랑이랑 또 굉장히 연관되어 있기 때문에 아마 작업에서 다양한 감정이 나오지 않을까 싶어요. 네.
And for her, sadness is very intertwined with the emotion of love as well. So she's hoping that she will be able to explore much more different emotions now. And she's looking forward to the different emotions that will be portrayed in her artworks.
Wow, thank you so much. That's very interesting what you said. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we come back here. I think it's time to say class dismissed.